Welcome to the world's #1 fitness business podcast for health club owners, gym managers, and fitness entrepreneurs. As always, this will be a great show as we have another expert to help your fitness business and your career. We'd like to thank our premier sponsor, Active Management, for supporting us, and we highly recommend becoming a member of Active Management to strengthen your business in 2016. There are loads of resources members receive, so join the Active Tribe today at www.activemgmt.com.au. Now that's enough from me. Let's welcome the show's amazing host, Chantal. What's on this week's show?
Thanks, Harper. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to another week of the show. This week's special guest is Emmett Williams. He is the co-founder and president of MYZONE, and he's joining us today to talk about technology, specifically how technology and data can come together to help drive customer connection, member engagement, and growth for fitness business owners. Emmett gets into some really interesting terms that you may or may not have heard of before, including three of my new favorites, which are tofu, mofu, and bofu. Plus, he talks about A/B testing, basket analysis, beacon technology, and much, much more. But first, you may recall a few weeks ago, we announced the exciting news that Precor have joined the Fitness Business Podcast as a partner. Well, the good news doesn't stop there. And so I want you to tune into a little something that I recorded just a few days ago. Tribe, I have a very special guest with us today. Let me introduce you to the founder of OneFitStop. It is Jaron Azen. Welcome to the Fitness Business Podcast, Jaron.
Thanks, Chantal. Thanks for having me here. And congratulations on reaching over 55,000 downloads of the show.
Thank you so much. Well, I've got to say, having just finished a huge month of Podtober, we are absolutely thrilled with the downloads. But there's definitely always more people that I would love to reach with the show.
Well, we would more than love to help you to reach that goal. And I'm here today to tell you that OneFitStop would love to become a partner of the Fitness Business Podcast.
Jaron, that is sensational. Thank you so much.
Look, I've been listening and watching your show for a long time now, and it's absolutely amazing the quality of information that you're supplying to the industry. And at OneFitStop, we're all about supporting fitness professionals in their quest to grow stronger businesses and do great things in the space. And as such, we would love to help spread the word and grow the Fitness Business Podcast.
Well, that is just so exciting. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Chantal, and it is our pleasure.
So, Tribe, it is official. OneFitStop are the newest partners to join the Fitness Business Podcast. Thanks, Jaron.
Thank you.
Tribe, as you know, finding the right guests and the right topics is a really important part of the show because I want to make sure that we are always interviewing people that will add value to your business and make sure that we're always giving you information to strengthen your business. So if you ever have any suggestions or requests on guests, speakers, or topics, you can email me at any time at chantal@fitnessbusinesspodcast.com.
The Fitness Business Podcast is very appreciative of our podcast partners. Here's a quick word from one of our partners.
Collaborative thinking to solve business challenges. Sound like a good idea? Just one advantage of Rex Roundtables in Australia, Europe, and the US. Go to rexroundtables.com. This week's flashback show is show 31 with Casey Conrad, the very best advice ever on selling fitness and selling personal training. If you missed that show, you have got to hear this one. Go back and check it out. It is show 31 and you can find it on iTunes or at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. Emmett Williams is an entrepreneur and leader in the health and fitness industry who has turned around an international marketing company located in Australia. He has built or purchased 7 health clubs and helped create a commercial gym equipment distribution company. 5 years ago, Emmett relocated to the United States to co-found the international wearable technology startup company MYZONE Incorporated. For anyone that is not familiar with MYZONE, it's a wearable heart rate-based system that uses wireless and cloud technology to monitor physical activity. As MYZONE approaches its 6th anniversary, the business has progressed from a startup technology company to what is now a market leader in the commercial fitness niche. And just a few weeks ago, Emmett was entered into the Fitness Australia Roll of Honour. Okay, Emmett, are you ready to Fitspire our global tribe of fitness business owners and managers?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now, I have just shared your amazing bio with all of our tribe, and the story of CFM and now MYZONE is incredible, and I have no doubt it will be very inspiring for many, many people. You got to tell us, you got to be honest with us now, Emmett. Has there been any hurdles or any roadblocks along that journey to success?
Countless, to be honest about it. But the biggest one would have been 2011 and 2012. Mm-hmm. You see, my partners and I had a series of wins behind us. You know, CFM was doing really well. The growth rate was fantastic. We were building gyms. We built a company that imported gym equipment into Australia. And, you know, not to get ahead of myself, but we just were not losing. And we thought that if you worked hard, you would get the outcome. And then we started MYZONE. And we honestly thought that if we worked hard and took it to market, we would get the outcome that we were looking for. We almost forgot that with every business there is risk. It's not just working hard. You know, there's almost a flip of the coin or the roll of a dice or the spin of a roulette wheel in every business instance. And sure enough, with a startup, particularly technology, particularly wearable technology in 2011, there was that issue of chance, and chance didn't fall in our favor. We had a product where we just couldn't get it to work right. We always thought it was 30 days away from being stable, and we were almost fooling ourselves. You know, the cash burn rate was like a runaway train. We were spending money on marketing and sales and employing people and going to market. And we very nearly crashed the train back in, mid-2012. But with that experience, it gave us scar tissue. And of course, that's what you use to make decisions better going forward. You know, looking back in hindsight, of course, we should have been a lot more phased in about it. We should have had milestones and not executed on certain strategies until we had reached a given milestone. But we didn't. We went with a big bang approach to it, and we almost got caught out. But we lived to tell the story, and MYZONE's now 5 years in, and we're out of the woods and on the march with great growth rates. But I tell that story because I'm sure a lot of your listeners who may be starting a personal training studio for the first time, or a franchise, or whatever it may be, and they're taking that leap. And it's, we call it the valley of death. When you decide to take the leap, sometimes the valley is only 3 months, 6 months, sometimes it's 2 years, but you're hanging out there, you're trying to attract staff, retain staff, attract clients, retain clients, you're building systems whilst running systems. It's a really scary time. And there is an element of chance, but there's also an element of application. And all you can do is control the effort that you put into it and hope that, the stars align and you come out the other end. And, of course, that's why entrepreneurs get rewarded. It's the risk that they take.
Emmett, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And as you say, you're now so much stronger, and you really we can look back on those hurdles and learn so much from them in order to then put into our future business. So well done for overcoming that hurdle. That's quite huge. And we can see now the success that MYZONE has. So that's really exciting of what the future has now brought. Now, I want to say a huge congratulations, because this year you were admitted to the Fitness Australia Roll of Honour for outstanding contribution to the fitness industry. Congratulations, Emmett.
Oh, thanks, Chantel. I must admit, I really was surprised when I got the call up. It was the last thing that I was expecting. And, I almost don't feel old enough. I'm 39 and I guess I'm 40 next year, so I suppose that does make me old. But certainly humbled. I certainly feel like we're still on the journey. We haven't, achieved our destination, and it feels as if an award like that is really for someone who has a lot of accomplishments, in the kit bag. We still very much feel as if we're part of the journey, and it's guys like my business partner Dave Wright, and then other executives in Australia like Michael Jordan and Mike Beanie and Liam Robertson, who really helped bring the Australian offering together over the years that I have to be thankful to.
First and foremost, Emmett, 39 is not old, let me just say. And secondly, I think this is just testament to how much you have achieved at a young age, to be totally honest with you. I mean, I just think this is an amazing, acknowledgement of the incredible effort that you have done and what you've achieved. So congratulations. Yeah. It is really fantastic.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chantel.
We were saying to our tribe last week that you are coming on this week to talk to us all about the latest fitness technology conference in the US. So tell us, what was the conference called first and foremost?
Yeah, look, it was the MotionSoft Technology Conference in Baltimore this year. So MotionSoft are a billing company in the US. They have a great brand, great reputation, and they took it upon themselves to initiate this conference about 3 or 4 years ago, if I remember correctly. We've been sponsoring them since day one, and it's basically 2 days and 3 nights. So you go in on the Tuesday night, you have a function, and then you've got the Wednesday and the Thursday of panels. And it's panel after panel after panel of CIOs and CTOs from leading fitness brands around America and outside America, discussing technology and discussing data and how it all comes together to help the health club grow. It's really, really interesting stuff, but, to be fair, it can get dry as well. When you've got a whole bunch of CIOs, talking in jargon. Sometimes you have to sit there and Google the words like lexicon. What's a lexicon? I still remember Googling that one. But if you can do that, you can certainly keep up and, yes, see where the leading brands are going.
It definitely sounds like an intense couple of days. So we appreciate that you went along and sort of took in all that information. And now, as I said in your Quickfire 5 last week, you're going to be our translator, I like to call it, and hopefully give us a bit of an overview from Emmett's point of view of what you took away. And you have very kindly broken this into 2 areas for us, one which is revenue growth and one which is product development. So do you want to run us through and give us a little bit of your thoughts, your feelings, and what you took away from the couple of days at the conference?
Yeah, so to begin, big picture, I'll have to say that the macro message out of the show was that technology is no longer tactical, it's now strategic. And we all remember, it wasn't that long ago, that the tech person at the office was that person's door you would knock on when you couldn't get the printer to work. Mm-hmm. It was a very tactical role. But particularly with the big national brands and the regional brands, they do have CIOs and VPs of technology, and they're strategic. They sit in on board meetings, and they have a return on investment attached to them. The return on investment typically breaks into 3 areas. The tech initiative either needs to help make money, it needs to help save money, or it needs to decrease the business risk. And the classic example that checks all boxes would be a CRM. A CRM helps you make more money because it's more effective at closing memberships or at upselling a member to a personal training pack because it's got the right data at the right time, delivered in the right way. It saves you money because the sales team don't need to spend 20, 30% of their time administering leads and opportunities. It's all done automatically. So it saves you money as well. But then if you consider that, the average length of a salesperson at a big chain brand is just 7 months, and you can imagine if you've got 100, 200, 300, 400 health clubs in your portfolio, that's a real issue. And what happens if the sales team leave at month number 7 and they take the leads book with them, that black book of leads? That's a business risk for you. So a CRM mitigates that risk as well. So, that's typically what was discussed at the high level. And the conversations and panels broke into existing approaches and the future approach, and the future being the next 36 months. So as I sort of dive deeper into this, Chantel, I'll talk about what's happening right now, and I'll talk about where they see it going in the next 36 months.
That sounds perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's start with revenue. Revenue, if you imagine a continuum, you've got tofu, mofu, and bofu. So that's top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. Then you've got the enhancement of lifetime value. Then you have retention, right? So let's start with top of the funnel. We're talking about a Salesforce automation system here. And with top of the funnel, you're trying to acquire leads. These days, par for the course is using digital and social. It's going out with pay-per-click and search and SEO and SEM and so on. It's using tools like Lookalike on Facebook and getting really targeted with who you're communicating with. That's par for the course. I know that JT ran a session on your podcast about a year ago regarding Lookalike, using your existing emails to find other people with the same profile so that you can advertise to them, given that they've got a higher chance of converting. So if you haven't listened to that, guys, I'd go back and listen to that one. But everyone's doing it these days, and that's where we're at. Moving forward, social influencers are going to become really impactful. So where product placement on a movie or on a TV show has been very common, where you see the Starbucks coffee or the Coca-Cola or the Apple Mac computer, that's product placement. Of course, social influencers are doing something similar, but with a micro audience. So it may be that an influencer has 1,500 followers or 5,000 or 5 million, and the whole idea is to get your product and your brand interwoven into their conversation so as to influence that micro population. Not as relevant for the small independent club as it is for the regional or national chain, but that's certainly where top of the funnel initiatives are going. From a middle of the funnel perspective, par for the course at the moment is using a drip. So having an email system to essentially communicate with your leads, to keep them warm, to leverage off what Casey Conrad was saying, using emotion and education to progress them through the funnel. And that's what a drip is essentially used for. Most clubs are doing that. Again, if you're not doing it, you're probably behind the 8 ball on it. And there's a really simple way of doing it, and that's getting onto MailChimp or Constant Contact and getting a free account to begin with and start communicating with your leads. But moving forward, what we'll be seeing soon is lead scoring and A/B testing. So lead scoring is about watching your leads and giving them points based on their behavior. So if they click on an email you send them, give them points for that. If they don't click on the email, don't give them any points. If they watch one of your videos, give them even more points, because watching a video is a real commitment. If they go to a certain page on your website, give them points for that. And in doing so, you can triage your leads in an order of priority, if you like, and your sales team know who to go after. The joke was made that it's a little bit like courting. It's the girl flicking her hair and looking over at you at the bar. She's sending a signal that, hey, I can go and talk to this girl. That was the joke of the day, and that's exactly what lead scoring is about.
That's fascinating, Emmett. So we can be, I guess that what that means to me is that from a time perspective, we can really be so much more specific on making sure that we spend our time going after those leads, which are really the lowest hanging fruit. They're the biggest opportunity for us, and that allows us to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, again, for the smaller studio, you go after everyone. So lead scoring is not as relevant, but as soon as you grow and as soon as time becomes precious, then absolutely this is an efficiency play.
Great. Nice.
Now, look, the other thing with the middle of the funnel, or MOFU, as we call it, is A/B testing. And A/B testing's been around for a long time. That's where you get, 2 HTML emails. They're exactly the same, but the headline is different. You've got headline A versus headline B, and you send it out. 1,000 leads get A, 1,000 leads get B. You measure the click-through rate, and it may be that headline B gets more of a click-through. So then you discard of headline A and you go with headline B. Again, it's not really being used these days, even though email systems do enable it. but it's where the future is going. Credit card companies made this famous. They've got such big databases, and their success rate is below 1% when they send out a HTML email. It's something like 1/3 of 1%. And if they can get that up to 2/3 of 1%, it's huge. They double their sales from that effort. And they play with headlines, they play with the blonde versus the brunette, they play with the copy to get it right. And it's not as if you can establish what the magic HTML email is and stick with it. It will always change based on a dynamic environment. So that's something that the technology will help marketers with in the fitness industry. It's almost the Moneyball of marketing. If you've seen that movie, Moneyball is about the analytics behind baseball and how you make decisions based on numbers, not based on the reputation of a sports star.
I have to say, Emmett, I think this is so interesting because 20 years ago when I first started, I started off in the media industry and I used to look after direct mail clients. And A/B testing was just part and parcel of what we used to do. It was just the stock standard thing that what we would do to test a physical mail out campaign. And as the years have gone on, I do feel as though quite often it's overlooked or it's just not been necessarily used as much as it should be in the fitness industry. So A, I think it's fantastic that it's coming back in, and B, let's do it. And I think it's something that it doesn't matter what size you are, but from a business perspective, A/B testing and split testing, a personal trainer with a mobile business can be split testing their creative and split testing their campaign offer right up to the largest scale gym. So I think it's great to hear that is coming back in with a vengeance.
Yeah, and because we're a fixed cost business, we have a lot of operational leverage, meaning that once you're breaking even, every additional dollar of revenue you create pretty much falls straight to the bottom line. Okay, there will be a few incremental expenses, but the point I'm trying to make is that, once you're up and about and you're mature, putting this extra effort in to squeeze an extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% out of the business is really valuable.
Absolutely.
Okay, so then we move to BOFU, or bottom of the funnel. We spoke a lot about electronic memberships through the iPad. Again, most brands have migrated over to that over the last 5 years. But where the industry is going is the rating of a customer. So that is when you join up, Chantal, it may be that we give you 5 stars because you fit a certain demographic, a certain psychographic, and we can see that you will be a high-value target moving forward. You're already a member, but you're in a position with a high propensity to purchase training or to be retained a long time or to refer more friends, and we know that by the data because other people like you have been really valuable, whereas your evil twin sister, I know you don't have one, but if you did, your evil twin sister may have a different set of psychographics and a different set of demographics, and we may only assign her 2 stars. So when it comes to spending money on nurturing you as a customer, we can spend more money on you than we can your 2-star sister. And again, it's coming down to efficiency and effectiveness of marketing. Then we moved into enhancing lifetime value. So we've got the customer. That's fantastic. But how do we derive value? A couple of things. Basket analysis was spoken about. The analogy was a supermarket where, and supermarkets, again, they've been doing this for years, but the fitness industry have never been there. Basket analysis is where you say, look, when a shopper walks into a supermarket and they buy bacon, there is a high likelihood they will buy eggs. So therefore, put the eggs next to the bacon. The classic study is around diapers or nappies, depending where you come from. And if a male is shopping for diapers or nappies, there is a high likelihood that they will purchase a 6-pack of beer. And you might not think there's an...
Did not know that.
Yeah, I mean, that is the classic case study of basket analysis, right? And you might not think there's any association. It's not bacon and eggs, but the more you think about it, the more it makes sense. But either way, again, data can help us with this. So, Chantel, if you join up and you're showing certain behaviour by purchasing items within the club, then what else can we sell you based on other people who have walked in your shoes before? That led into something that was really interesting, which was beacon technology. And one of the VPs from Samsung was the keynote speaker. If you don't know what beacon technology is, it's a device that will go on the wall, and it's got low-energy Bluetooth technology in it, and it communicates with smartphones that may have your app. So a retail example would be Nordstrom's. Nordstrom are a big retail mall, sort of medium to high end here in the United States. And if you're walking down Michigan Avenue in Chicago and you're a shopper at Nordstrom's and you walk past the front door of Nordstrom's, the beacon will pick you up and it will message you and will say, Emmett, the menswear is on level 3. Why don't you come in and have a look? Right, because it will know that I'm physically there. I decide to walk in and I go up to level 3, and as I'm riding the elevator up to level 3, it knows that I've purchased a navy suit only 6 months ago. So it sends me another message and says, hey, look, Emmett, how's that navy suit going? Here are a few shirts that will complement it. Why don't you have a look at them? And this will take the retail shopping experience to the next level. American Airlines are doing it at the moment. When you get off it's in pilot, but when you get off an aeroplane, it will know where you are in the terminal and it will tell you how many minutes it will take to walk to the next gate or where the closest lounge is for you. Major League Baseball are doing it. If there's a seat free, they will message people in the stadium, and those that are high value, they'll give them they'll suggest that they come over and sit in a better seat.
Sorry, Emmett. I was just going to say, I mean, that the technology and the knowledge in that, the amount of data behind that is just incredible, isn't it, to think about?
Yeah, it really is, and it's hard to get your arms around it because if you get all that data in, how do you turn that into value? That is the question, but that's where it's going. So in the case of a gym, the beacon will pick up that you've walked in the door. It will map where you've walked to, so it gets used to your patterns. And then, once you're finished cardio and it can see that you're moving, it may prompt you to go and get that peanut butter shake that you now deserve, and it will pat you on the back and say, well done, Chantel, come over and get your shake. It's 50% off today. Good job. So again, it's making, it's sending the right message to the right person at the right time at the right price, and therefore being more effective and efficient with the marketing message to extract more lifetime value out of each and every member.
The possibilities are limitless, aren't they, when it comes to this type of technology? I mean, as you're talking, to me, I'm thinking about it. It's not only capturing the people that are within our gym environment, but it's capturing people that are maybe the inactive community, and giving them encouragement to come in after we see what some of their habits might be outside of that. The possibilities are endless.
Yeah, they really are. So it's just a matter of holding on and understanding where the technology is going, and always asking the question, how do we get a return on investment out of it?
Emmett, do we know, before you go on, do we know of any major gym clubs or chains that are utilising this yet, or is it too early days?
No, it's early days, very, very early days. There were a lot of questions from the leading CIOs around this. Mm-hmm. No one was public about any pilot that they were running, but I think it really is just a matter of watching this space.
Yes, very interesting. Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, right. So then, we looked at retention, and, I think that the industry as a whole agree that usage of a gym membership is the driver of retention. There's many other variables, but the usage is probably the key variable. We got to a point where we agreed that it wasn't necessarily 8 visits per month, that magic number that a lot of us talk about. It was more so the change in visit behaviour. So if a member changes their behaviour by more than 50% in a 60-day period, then they're an at-risk member. So if they're only visiting 4 times per month, that's okay from a retention perspective, even though we want to get them up to 8 visits per month. That's okay. But if they drop to a run rate of 2 visits per month, then that's a red flag, and we need to do something about it. And this is where the rating system comes in. Again, for the bigger national chains that don't have hundreds of members, they've got tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of members. They do need to triage these at-risk members and go after the ones that are of high value. So going forward, it won't just be a red flag for someone whose behaviour has changed. It will be a red flag and then a star, and you go after the members who have got a star next to them because they're the Chantels that were given 5 stars to begin with, and we know that they've got a lot of opportunity moving forward. Again, it's the money ball of marketing.
It really is, yeah.
And then finally for revenue, and again, this is a retention-based tech initiative, is competitive intrusion. So take a chain of gyms, they're operating, everything's going well, but then a competitor comes to town on the east side of town. And, we all know what happens. Going through the pre-sale, the market will freeze a little bit, then the gym will open and the market will open up and, sales will start flowing again. And that new gym will have an impact on our new sales, absolutely. But what clubs are doing now is they're going back with regression analysis and asking themselves the question, who left? When that new club opened up, who left? Was it the gym exercise guys? Was it the cardio bunnies? Was it the members who were paying for paid programming? Who actually left? What's their demographic? Where did they live? And if this happens again, how can we develop a tactic to mitigate that risk? So then when that incoming club brand opens up in another market against the same gym chain, what they do is they identify it, then they go out to their members and target the members on the east side of the club that fit the demographic and psychographic of those members at risk from the previous experience. They give them an offer which is made up of a marketing mix, so that may be product and price. They give them an offer they can't refuse, and they tie them in before that new club opens up. And so they're playing defense against the new club coming to town, but they're also being offensive in that they're sending a message to the new club that if you come too close to us, be careful, because we've worked you out and we know how to reverse engineer you and throw the sand back up in your face. So again, the data is being used to, be strategic.
Yeah. So Emmett, what I'm hearing is just how important the data is or will become. Do you think that we need a specialist in our business to help with data analytics, or will the technology guide us through what we need to know?
Yeah, good question. I think there'll be 2 layers. There will be those vendors that build products that automate reports and make it really off the shelf, where any general manager can get their daily report, their monthly report, and they can get the message out of it immediately. But the bigger chains, again, those above 10 and 20 clubs per brand, and certainly the ones above 100 per brand, they already have business BI officers or business intelligence officers on board. I just sat down with the guys from Midtown Athletic Club just last week and discussed this very thing. They have a full-time operative on this because it's so important.
Yeah.
And the geeks are really becoming the cool kids, make no mistake about that. It's data-driven marketing. Gone are the days of it all being about the creative and who can come up with the most beautiful look and feel. Data will point us in the right direction. You still need the creative, but data will point us in the right direction. It will be the compass for decisions, and then the creative comes behind it.
Excellent. Tribe, this has been just one part of my catch up with Emmett. He'll actually be joining us on another show soon to talk about the product development side of the conference. So make sure you stay tuned for that one, which is coming up soon.
Pre-Core Quickfire 5.
Tribe, I want to say a very warm welcome to our special guest today. It is Alana Wexler, the founder and director of Green Arrow Digital. Welcome to the show, Alana.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Our pleasure. Now, are you ready for your quick fire 5 questions?
I'm ready.
Okay. Tell us, why do you do what you do?
So I help business owners grow their business through online advertising, and I do it because I find it very rewarding, actually.
And I read somewhere, actually, I heard you say, I love data. Is that true?
It's true. It is true. Sad but true.
Yeah, Alana, tell us, what's the best piece of advice that you have ever received?
Someone once said to me, you stop working the minute you enjoy what you do. So I'm a big believer in following your passion and that it doesn't feel like work then, which is wonderful.
That's great advice. And what's a personal habit that helps you become better at what you do?
So every day I have a long list of things I need to do, but I make sure I set myself 3 things that I absolutely need to do above everything else. And if those 3 things happen in the day, then it's a good day. Or it's every day, but it needs to happen on that day.
That's a good way to prioritize. Tell us, what's one book that you would recommend and why?
So a business book which I really like is called Grit, which is about sort of passion and perseverance in the sort of the business sense. And a non-business related book, which is a beautiful book, it's called A Fine Balance.
Oh, great recommendations. We'll make sure that we grab some links for those for today's show notes. And tell us, why should our tribe come back next week and listen to the main interview?
Because we're going to talk about Facebook advertising, and I'm going to reveal what business owners should do before they start spending a dime on Facebook ads. So don't make the mistakes that so many business owners make and not doing a few things before you get started.
Tribe, I have checked out what Alana does, and I am so excited to be bringing this interview to you guys next week. I think that it's something that you're going to get a lot of great information from. So, Alana, I'm really excited to have you back next week. Thank you so much for joining us for the Quick Fire 5, and we'll chat to you again very soon.
Sounds great. Looking forward.
It's time for the Fitness Business Podcast Wrap.
Here are my takeaways from this week's show. Technology is no longer tactical. It's now strategic. Emmett said technology either needs to help make money, save money, or decrease the business risk. He said that social influencers are becoming more and more impactful. So perhaps have a think about whether or not you want someone who would represent your business. In the future, we're going to see businesses using lead scoring, which will enable you to go after the best and most relevant prospects. And he said that you should be doing A/B testing with your marketing to identify what most appeals to your target and to maximize your results.
Get ready for this week's bonus segment, your extra injection of information, education, and inspiration to strengthen your fitness business.
Okay, Tribe, well, as you know, we like to keep you up to date with all the latest industry events. And today I am joined by Doug Miller, the founder of Salesmakers International. Welcome to the show, Doug.
Thank you very much, Chantal.
Now, you're here today to tell us all about the Virtual Roadshow online. Tell us about the event.
Well, on the 8th of December this year, we will be hosting the 9th annual roadshow that I've produced in Kuwait at a beautiful club called the Al Corniche Club. It's close to a 6-star facility, as I can recollect. And I've been doing this game for about 36 years now, so I've seen a few clubs in my day. Anyway, the roadshow is something that I pioneered around 10 years ago in Scandinavia when I was appointed the ambassador to URSA, which is getting a bunch of my 4-star or A-list presenter friends together. We go on the road for a few days, hit some different cities, lay out some good information. And one of my friends, a British friend who was working in Kuwait, found out about this, and he was a little confused with his geography. He didn't realize that Kuwait was not part of Scandinavia, and asked if I could do the same thing for them over there as I had done. And Ursa allowed us to do so, and that thus began the first Middle East Roadshow, and this again is the 9th year. But I've always wondered, because we've had some brilliant presenters, and this year is no exception to that rule. And I just wanted to, figure out how could I take this to a much wider audience. And now, of course, technology has caught up with us as we're having this conversation. Well, it's midnight for me, breakfast for you.
That's correct.
Why not use technology to communicate? So that's what we're doing. So this year we will be streaming the entire event live. We will be recording the entire event live with all of its warts and imperfections. And I've retained a company in England called Be Inspired Films. They produce TED Talks, and they have successfully done this on countless occasions. But to the best of my knowledge, this might be one of the first times in our industry that something like this has occurred, which is basically a full one-day educational conference featuring the likes of Brian O'Rourke, Colin Milner, Dr. Paul Bedford, Alan Leach from Ireland, and coming to us yet even further virtually is Michael Scott Scudder from America, who will be, while we're having lunch in Kuwait, we will be playing a recording of Michael that he's kindly preparing for us. Big secret as to the topic. You're going to have to tune in to see what it's all about.
I'm not going to give that one away.
It's for your time of day, Chantel, this may be a little bit difficult. It starts yet another hour ahead of me here, so I don't even want to try to calculate the time differences. But the good news, again, is that all you need to do is go to virtualroadshow.online, where the website is set up with all of the details and a link to the registration page. And we do have some wonderful sponsors that are working with us this year. And as the guest of a sponsor, the price is further reduced by 50%. So to round it off in figures or in pounds, I do live in the UK, even though I'm an American, it's £75 for the first club, and that means that you and all of your staff can be sitting there in your Group X studio observing live, or you can, again, download the stream for all of the staff to view at any time. Now, if you have more than one club, I do require that all of the clubs in the chain register. However, we reduced the price down to £7.50.
Wow.
So if you can think of any event, educational event with the talent that I've outlined for such a ridiculously low price, I would love to hear about it. And last and not least, a very good friend of mine that I met 35 years ago at the second Ursa conference in Las Vegas, a man by the name of Augie Nieto, the founder of Life Fitness, who has been, I'll say afflicted. He would say he's been blessed with this disease called ALS, but 50% of all of the proceeds I'm donating to Augie's quest to find a cure for this horrible affliction. And his quest is simply to find a cure before, he goes on to the next world. But, the roadshow is coming at you live and in person the 8th of December, 10 a.m. Kuwait time. If you would like to attend it, your price is the exact same. It doesn't change one penny. The only thing we are doing is that only CEO level attendees, because there's only 50 seats in the auditorium, so to speak. And we're doing it again in May of next year, but this time coming to you from a little bit closer to me, at least in the UK, northern part. as in Manchester way, and back in Kuwait virtually next year. But come the first of the year, I might have a few more things I might be willing to put online for the rest of the world to become aware of.
Fabulous. Well, we might need to check back in with you at the beginning of 2017. Doug, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. Tribe, we will be putting the direct link, the Virtual Roadshow .online link will be in our show notes. So you can always jump over and click directly through to there to purchase your tickets. You've heard all about it. Do not miss out. This sounds like a phenomenal event. And Doug, thank you so much for joining us today on the Fitness Business Podcast.
Just one last one, Chantel, as a thank you to all of your tribe. Simply go onto the website and put in the word Augie, AUGIE, and you've got a 50% discount, compliments of Chantel.
Wow, thank you so much, Doug. There is a great incentive for all of us. So 50% discount and also you're contributing to a great cause. Jump on team and register today. That is virtualroadshow.online. Thanks for joining me for another week of the Fitness Business Podcast. And remember, what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others.
Great show this week that you should be suffering DOMs, delayed onset mind soreness, as you are overloaded and that's when your mind is strengthened. You and your business have been strengthened thanks to the amazing support of our premier sponsor, Active Management. Check out www.activemgmt.com.au only if you want to strengthen your business and your leadership. Don't forget all today's links and notes are found at www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, where you can also subscribe and never miss a show and maybe win a prize. Next week is another incredible guest with Chantal, so get ready for more Fit Bizpiration.